Hey there, Lusketeers. Welcome back to the podcast.
It is so good to be here.
It is
today
good. It is good to be here today. And we have, as you can tell, if you're listening,
If you're watching,
watching a very special guest, Olivia Lusko.
the specialist.
Favorite daughter.
It's not even really, I'm not going to acknowledge that. Favorite daughter in the room. I'm not even going to say guest. You're just part of the Luskos, obviously. It's your third time on. I was checking into it. Episode number 90, you co-hosted with me. Episode 103, you were part of the Christmas Spectacular, which was fun. And so now here you are back. But today you kind of are a guest because we're going to be interviewing you a little bit.
Well, here I am.
Well, you're the first Lusko child for us.
Yep.
You're the first Lusko grandkid
On both sides.
on both sides of the family. Like you are a special Lusko.
We could say you're a pioneer,
Oh,
Really?
How fitting.
honestly. And okay, so really quickly, before we go any further, here's where we're going today. We are going to
Lead
talk
us.
and get the intel, the scoop, the skinny. We're going to get the lowdown from Olivia Lusko, who is 17, going on 18. This fall, Olivia turns into an adult, on what it was like for her as a teenager to go through a Rite of Passage ceremony that we put together. So if you're listening, we promise by the end of this conversation to have mined Olivia like a gold mine or like a mosquito mine that could produce dinosaurs.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Are you with me?
Mm-hmm.
You're going to at home have the ability to create your own dinosaurs. That gave Jennie the heebie-jeebies. We have one already.
One.
If someone
Check.
laughs until cries, or if Jennie gets the heebie-jeebies, we've done what we came to do. Check that box.
But you don't know what it is.
The reason we think this is so important, and we're going to come back to this, is we had a whole conversation 2 episodes ago, right before Louie and Shelley Giglio came on, and man, that was an episode, about the importance, if you're a parent or a grandparent or guardian of a young one, why would you care, why should you care, and how to go about acknowledging the transition from child to adult.
Yeah.
Why would that be something you should think about, pray about, strategize about? So that whole episode was all about that. And now we thought, hey, it's time to go to Costco. It's time to walk up and down the aisles and eat a sample. It's time to hear from a student.
Many samples.
Ooh, very good. About what that meant to her, any advice she might have, any perspective. So you're listening, you have a 7-year-old, and 5 years from now, 6 years from now, you're going to be thinking and praying about doing that. And again, we do have a resource you can get in the show notes, in the YouTube caption. You can see a link to a guide. If you want a printed guide on how to put a Rite of Passage ceremony together for your child, that exists. We hope that conversation, we hope that guide, and we hope this conversation helps you to get kind of a little bit of a light bulb of what this could look like as you take in Olivia's wealth of wisdom. And although, she might go, hey guys, I hated it. So I don't know. We're going to not put the
We'll
cart
find
before the
out.
horse, but she might have you canceling your ceremony, depending on how this all has gone down.
We haven't talked about it prior to this, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah, we said, Livy, look, we want you to come in. Will you? She said yes. Here's what we're going to talk about. So that's all. We haven't done anything other than that. We're going to interview her. We're going to hear about it. So ladies and gentlemen, that's what's to come in this conversation. Goodness, at the time we're recording this, we are just coming off of the heels of your tennis season. You had a really great run this year, which was a miraculous thing, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Tell us about it.
Oh, well, I had a back injury about a year ago, and I couldn't play tennis for 8 months. And so just being able to play was a big deal. But I'm really glad that I was able to. It was not a great season numbers-wise. I probably won half of my matches, but I learned a lot and I grew a lot as a player.
Well, I think it was a great season that you got to step onto that court,
Yeah.
first of all. I mean, a year ago at this
With
time.
no back pain while stepping on the
Yeah,
court.
we were thinking you may not ever get to play tennis again. She herniated this disc, just massive pain to even touch your toes or shoes or wiggle your feet. I mean, anything. You were in incredible pain and agony, which was so hard for us to watch for so long. Prayers were prayed. Medical help was sought. You put in hard yards in the physical therapy and in your mental space. So not only that you would play again, which is we're just thankful to God for that, but and the support network you have, great friends and people in your life, but that you also co-captained your team and played singles one. So you might have lost half the matches, but you know what? You were playing at the highest level you could play at in your school.
Yeah.
And we're so proud of you.
Yeah,
so
we are.
It was really fun.
You mentioned that you learned a lot this season. What were some of the things you were learning in your tennis season?
Well, there's the obvious, like bring extra water because it's really hot. And then also more important things like staying in control of my temper, which came out more than usual this season. That ball was in. No.
So other girls calling the balls out.
Definitely. And just like
Because you don't have line judges in high school
Nope,
tennis.
there's none of that. So definitely little mental battles, and just staying calm and staying in it the entire time and not getting frazzled and trying to give up halfway through a match is what I learned.
It's
Still am
amazing
learning.
to me. Yeah. And it's cool to learn it in different settings, but it's amazing to me how you're able, because Montana tennis is different than Southern California tennis or Florida tennis or Arizona tennis. Like, you're
For
literally,
a lot of reasons.
I mean,
You
for
got
a lot of
high altitude
reasons.
balls.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know, the ball's different, high altitude.
Play in like 40 degrees and we don't have
Yeah.
courts in the winter. So it's
And I feel like the courts in the winter like shift, and so like in the spring they're all kind of cracked, and so like sometimes you hit and then it bounces a different way, and then it gets hot, and so you're like playing one week in 40-degree weather, and then the next week in
it's
like
95.
90.
Some days. One day, I think the day began at 39 and ended in the low 90s. And that was the day you actually got heat stroke. They had to call a match for medical, put you in a cold shower.
And then I did forfeit.
Had to
It was
forfeit the match.
that was a day.
Let me ask you this, and I'm personally just so proud of you.
Yeah.
Not only how you went through your injury, handled the setback, came back, but I feel like I watched a lot of growth in you. You know, there were tears coming off the court sometimes. There was sadness. There was
Yeah.
Let's talk about it.
the fight to get back on there. Is there a lowest moment that comes to your mind? Not the injury, of course. That was a very low moment, but maybe a low moment on the court you felt.
Oh man. Well, tennis is very much like a muscle memory sport. So not playing for a long time and then coming back into it, you lose a lot of strength and like timing especially. So going for like what would have been an amazing shot a year ago and then hitting it and just totally missing it was always just a little bit pain. It's like a knife in the ego of my soul. I don't really know
I
how to
like
say
that you
that.
still has an ego. Mine does too. That's good. We should talk about that more later. Yeah.
Oh yeah, sure. Let's make a note of that one. So
Are you writing on her pad? What about your own pad? Write on your own dang pad.
ego of my soul. So I think that was probably a low moment.
Yeah.
And then losing matches that I should have won just because of my temper, and like not being confident enough in my own skill and overthinking things before going into a match especially was a hard one.
It's an interesting allegory for life, isn't it? Because you're there alone. You actually can't even receive coaching until designated moments, right?
Yeah.
At court changes and whatnot. And
It's very much, you have to be very mentally strong, and it's something that I've just like now started to think about more. So it's very interesting.
let me ask you this: did you learn more from the losses or from the victories?
Definitely. Well, kind of half and half, because there were some victories that were so easy I didn't have to try. Because in Montana, there's some very small schools and some kids just don't know how to play tennis. Yeah. So that ends up being, there are some matches where it's just every point is like 40 love, 6-0, 6-0. But then there's some where the wins I had to fight really, really hard for, and going to a third set, and you had to stay strong and come back from being down. But yeah, the losses were definitely things that I took a lot from.
I loved the last game we saw you play. My favorite moment at divisionals.
Oh.
You were in the losers bracket because you had kind of bounced out of the main one, and this girl had taken the first set.
Yeah.
But then the second set, she got up 4-0. So it was like, this thing's almost over.
She was up 5-2.
5-2. But it was 4-0, then 5-2.
4-0, then
Yeah.
5-2.
Yeah. And I just saw something switch on in you.
I kind of went crazy.
It was amazing.
That was amazing.
Because it was like you found your furnace.
I definitely
Come on,
did.
touch 5 people and say, find your furnace. Because you opened the doors of it and you shoveled some coal in it. And it was like, we watched you just, it was like, the worst Marvel movie ever, Fantastic Four, Johnny Flame or whatever says flame on, and then you suddenly lights on fire. It was like watching you on court, like it was like a meteor hit you.
It's so true.
And then I bounced back up
and
to
you won
6-5.
You didn't win the set, but you got
I got close. We had to go to a tie break.
I think you had 3 set points on that one.
Mm-hmm.
So you were down 5-2, and to come
really
back
close.
up and be 6-5 within a point of winning that set, which I think if you'd gone a third, it would have been donezo.
Yeah.
And then it got to a tie break.
Yeah, and then I lost my momentum.
You might have lost the momentum, but you found a new gear.
You did.
I definitely did. So we're going to be trying to tap into that more often from now
Yes.
on. From now on.
Goodness. Wow.
But I want to say, like, I watched a lot of tennis this season, and I feel like you have the most elegant serve of all the people that I watched this season. And I just want to
That's
tell
saying
you,
a lot. Your
like,
mom watched Raducanu, Alcaraz. She watched a lot of pro tennis this year.
well,
so
I've seen
okay,
some good
yes,
people.
but you just have an elegance. Like, there's no, like, it's not choppy or like fragmented. Like, you just have a smooth, beautiful, and just how you hit. Like, it's just so
I
fun
think
to
that's
watch
the years
you.
of ballet and dance too
Oh,
coming
yeah.
out as
Just
well.
ballet.
Graceful.
No other dance. I don't think I could still channel that anymore. I think that's left
It's in
me.
you. You have an elegance to
You
you,
have a
though.
foundation. Well, this isn't a
Thank you.
podcast about tennis, but it is
kind
about
of is.
finding
But
that
we love
furnace,
tennis, so.
being able to shove some coal. And what an apt illustration for what it's like. So that's what's going on in your life. You're just on you're on the very last ebb of your junior year of high school.
Mm-hmm. Oh, well, maybe not last ebb, but hopefully soon I'll be on that
The beginning of the last ebb.
Yeah, I think that's a better way to say it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm a little behind, but we'll finish it.
Well, tennis put a little dampener on
Yeah,
it too.
tennis
Yeah.
takes up a lot of time.
Yeah.
Super involved at church.
Mm-hmm.
Helping out. You serve on a team within our church. That's which team?
Well, okay, my heart is split in 2 ways. I kind
The
of
ego of your
alternate.
soul, or the
Yes.
heart of your spirit?
The heart of my spirit. Oh man, this is
Wow.
so wishy-washy. So every other Sunday, I serve in our Fresh Life Kids team with the 1st through 2nd graders, and they're the best. I have so many little best friends in that class. Shout out to Kaya and Senya if you happen to be listening to this. I love you guys.
You're so good with little kids, by the way.
Thank you. And then the other half of my time I spend with Kaylin and Alicia, and I help them out with social media stuff.
Yeah.
And it's the best.
So you are house divided, but that's pretty
Yeah.
cool. You're getting multiple
But I think
different.
it's fun, and I feel like it prevents burnout too, because I get it kind of mixed up a little bit, and everyone gets a little bit of the live.
Yeah. And there's relief too in the way, and
Yes.
you're learning from both teams,
Yeah.
which is
And you're learning different gears and
Range.
ministry and range.
Range,
And I love how you're learning like creativity with kids. Like even the other day, we were all in the car, and it wasn't the other day, it was months ago, but I was driving the whole family, and I was not lost, but I was just there's a bunch of traffic. I was trying to figure out, it was a very frustrating moment, and you just started doing some game
I
with
think it was
with
riddles.
your brother and sisters. Yeah, riddles. And it was like, that is so genius, because you took a frustrating moment and you made it fun for your siblings. And you've done that many times, but I love the thought of that live like pouring into Fresh Life Kids, and they love you so much too, which is fun to see when we run into people and they're like, Livy or Miss
That
Liv
is
or
my
whatever they
favorite.
call you. So fun.
okay. And then what else you got going on in your life? You got school, you got sports, you got church stuff. Obviously, you're super involved with Fresh Life students. I'm sure you're
Yeah.
excited for Movement Conference coming
Oh
in.
my goodness. Don't even get me started.
Ooh.
Well, actually, yes, please get
I
me started.
will get you started. The spirit of your soul, the ego of your
The
mind,
ego of my...
the heart of your stomach, yeah. The depths of the sea.
Yes. Man. Well, first of all, I can't even believe that we've only done it for 1 year, because it's already so amazing, and in my mind, it's very professional. And I'm so proud of our team for just killing it in every single way. And yeah, I'm so excited to be able to help plan it in some ways, and then also, well, not really. That's I'm putting myself in a higher spot, then that's
You
not true.
give
I
all
don't
kind
plan
of
it.
intel. We implement lots
I
of
like
great
to
ideas.
Your
come
input
up
is
with some
amazing.
ideas that may or may not be implemented into the final plan. We'll see.
You live for like insider information,
do.
though. You do love
Oh,
that,
it's
being
my
in the know.
favorite.
Who doesn't, right?
Pastor gossip. That's what I like
Pastor
to call it.
gossip. She said she does love some good pastor gossip.
Well-
oh, so who's doing what these days? What's the scuttlebutt?
Yeah, exactly. Oh my gosh.
Water cooler
They
talk.
keep playing that song.
Pastor gossip. I keep thinking you should do something with that. Like obviously
I
not
feel
in a
like
real
that's
gossiping way because
not-
that's a sin. But like, like, I feel like that at mention or that handle. I feel like
Like an overheard.
it's just
but
funny. That would be funny, like an overheard for pastors, like
that
a
would be
silly
funny.
one. Okay, so
Oh yes, I'm not done.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
no,
I just
do drive.
I didn't want to only partially answer the question. I was saying that I'm excited that I get to help in some ways, and I also get to attend as a student because I get to experience both sides, and it's a blast. And I love being able to see my friends grow in their friendships or relationships, I guess, with Jesus and with each other too.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful time, and if you want to sign up, you should do that now.
Now, let's say you're
Yes.
talking to
Amen.
a parent or a teenager or anybody listening, or a youth pastor or a pastor who's their church isn't geared up to come out and join us. How would you make the case for why a family group with some teens, maybe their daughter and 3 of their friends, or a youth pastor or a teenager listening, make the case for Movement Conference as distinct from other conferences, which
Oh.
you've been to them all.
There's so
I think
many
there's not a
reasons.
conference with a multiple thousand gathering of teenagers in the country that you haven't been to.
That's
by the
true.
way, and they're all
Yeah.
awesome for different
They are.
reasons.
Yeah.
But what makes the Movement Conference
Man.
unique in your mind?
Yeah. Well, just strictly from like against other conferences. Again, yes, we
Not
love
against.
those ones.
Four other
For-
conferences.
Comparison
well, no,
to.
in comparison,
Unique to-
in contrast, bringing out my deep English education, I don't.
Those hard-earned dollars are being well spent. I
Ah,
can tell.
yes.
Yes.
Thanks. You're welcome. Basically,
Sorry.
stop laughing.
sorry.
It's really, really, really cool to be able to do what you would do in another conference, but outside. And because Montana in the summer is unlike anything else in the world, in my opinion. And it's beautiful, and the weather is kind of perfection in August. And being able to do things you love, like worshiping Jesus and dancing and playing dodgeball, the awesome summer camp things that everyone wants. You're able to do it outside and in a different place. So if you're from, I don't know, New York or California, and somewhere where you don't really get to go outside very often and hang out with mountains and horses,
Seriously.
you should definitely come. It's a beautiful experience, and it's up to you really what you can do. You can go ziplining or tubing on the lake. It's fun to have a personalized or a customizable conference experience.
Yeah. Well, great.
Wow.
What is your artist and what is your speaker this year's conference you're most excited about hearing and
there's
listening
the
to?
Obvious Levi and Jennie Lusko and
Okay, you
Fresh
have
Life
to
Worship.
include us in the list.
It's kind of I
a
have to
given.
legally.
I will pay you later. I will Venmo you immediately.
Thank you. Product placement for myself.
For Venmo.
We should probably take that one out. Just kidding, guys. I'm really excited for Pastor Louis Giglio. I think that I've kind of grown up hearing his sermons, and so hearing him speak is always like hearing, not home speak, but kind of. And I am so excited for my friends to experience him because he's amazing. And then for worship, there's so many good options. I think Torrin Wells is up there. Or, oh my goodness, Brandon Lake. I forgot he was coming.
I forgot he was coming.
Well,
He's bringing all his K-Level awards. He's bringing all of his
all 3 of
Grammys,
them.
his praise braids.
Dang.
It's going to be good.
So, yes, I'm very excited for all of it, but especially, I'd say, Pastor Louis and Brandon Lake.
Yeah. Very good.
I know.
So good.
Very good.
So good.
Okay. Let me pause real quickly and thank everybody listening and watching for doing that. It's awesome. We love that you listen to our podcast and that we get to be Lusketeers with you. We also want to say if you haven't subscribed yet, that's helpful. Every time it happens, it grows and people see it's happening and it trips the algorithm and all that stuff kind of works. If you haven't left a review on Apple Podcasts or on the Access More platform, you can do that. You can share any of these episodes with a friend. If you think of a teenage parent or single mom or anybody who's got, the child that they want to see. Like, listen to this girl talk. She's amazing. So what she's about to share in a minute is going to help you even more than just normally what we try and serve up here, which is a big steaming bowl of awesome mush.
Oh,
Yeah,
I
no.
didn't know where that was going to go.
Healthy,
And when you said
delicious.
steaming bowl,
Oatmeal.
I was just
Oatmeal.
nervous.
Mush.
But we're
With
good.
brown sugar.
with cinnamon.
Do you like oatmeal?
I hate oatmeal.
Why?
Do you have a
Okay.
bad
What
experience?
did it ever do to you?
I just don't think it's good.
Oh.
I didn't
Even
have
with
that
like brown
experience.
sugar and
Oh
stuff?
no, it's just I feel like I'm eating mush, and that's exactly what it is.
Weird. Everything you're saying makes me hungry. I love oatmeal. I love maple and brown sugar Quaker oatmeal. I love the guy on the package and his wig. I like his hat. I like the whole deal. I just don't eat it because I generally don't eat breakfast because of the whole
Right.
intermittent fasting thing.
Right.
Yeah,
But I
I
have fond
see.
memories of Quaker oatmeal as a kid, especially the peaches and cream one. That's delicious.
That is
What are you talking
delicious.
about? You don't
I
have to
used
chew.
to
You
eat
just
that
swallow
one
that
dry.
stuff. You don't have to chew oatmeal.
The peaches and cream. I used to eat
You
that.
barely
dry.
chew anyways.
Oh gosh, I've had some bad experiences with oatmeal though.
Really?
Where it
Like
was too
what?
hot and I swallowed it and it was like coated in the back of my throat with hotness. And I was like, send help. You know, like you just have like a quick fire alarm going off in your brain. But when you eat something that's too hot, but you don't realize it till it's too late. Like I've had some real bad cobbler scalds.
Babe, I feel like that happens a lot to you because you're so excited
I'm writing
to
down
eat.
that
I'm
cobbler
And you
skulls.
don't. You don't.
Cobbler scald would be a great band name. Pastor gossip. Cobbler
Cobbler
scald.
We should start some.
Trademark
some
these
other-
immediately. And
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
crying. Okay.
Yay.
Okay,
We
I'm also
win.
really
We made him
susceptible to
cry.
brain freezes.
That's so true. I've never seen anyone get more brain freezes than you.
And more burnt mouths.
Okay,
I think you must have a sensitive.
Let me tell you something.
I think he just
Top of your
eats
mouth.
I have a
before
real
he
sensitive
thinks.
soul, you guys.
No, Olivia just nailed it on the head. You eat before you think.
Wow. Jeez, Liv.
I didn't mean to offend you. It's just true.
You eat before you think. Okay, let's talk about this last brain freeze I got. We were at Sonic. We were.
Which
we had some brain-
Sonic and Great Falls. Who
Yeah.
Oh my
knew?
goodness!
It's great.
Wow,
It's great
what
that they have a
what
Sonic.
city.
We don't have a Sonic. So if anyone from Sonic Drive-In is listening,
Or Crumble.
you know what's
please.
funny? I met the guy who owns a ton of the franchises for Sonic. Remember we were on an airplane
Yeah.
together? He sold them all though.
Oh.
Which he owned all the
Man.
Sonic Drive-ins like in a 4-state region. I don't remember if Montana was on the list. We were chatting about it for a little while though. Cause like, what do you do, man? He's like, I just got out of the restaurant business. I
I
said, which
wonder how
restaurant?
many Sonics are in Montana. Because I know, aren't there just like 2 Chick-fil-A's in Montana?
Yeah,
I
I don't
think-
know. Bozeman's got one.
No,
There's 3 technically.
Missoula and
Missoula?
Kalispell. Oh, in Bozeman?
Missoula,
There's
Kalispell.
Bozeman.
Oh,
Missoula,
so they're
Kalispell.
spreading.
I thought
Wait, no,
Billings
and
got
the-
one.
Missoula has one. We went there.
Yeah, Missoula has one.
When you're
Okay,
at
we're gonna have to
state.
look into this. Anyhow, anyone from Sonic Drive-In listening, maybe you bought all the ones from that guy in Tennessee who now lives in Florida and just hangs out in what did he say he lives?
in
He said he lives in St. Augustine now.
Kalispell.
Yeah, if you sell 20 Sonic Drive-Ins, you're gonna have a place in St. Augustine. Yes, you will. But he told me he sold them all. Billings and Great Falls are the 2 Sonic Drive-Ins in the state of Montana.
Oh, I thought we were talking about Chick-fil-A.
Well, we talked about both things and we got really confused, but we need to move on because we need to get through Rite of Passage.
Oh, sorry.
But what I was going to say is we were at Great Falls. We did this worship night. We saw there was a Sonic. We said, well, we're going there tomorrow.
We did. Well, we also stopped by for some little sides
Look,
that night.
we did have a
Someone
foodie
practiced
frenzy.
self-control. I won't mention who.
You didn't order anything.
At
I
10:30 at
definitely
night.
got some
Look, you can't get
mozzarella
out of
sticks.
church and not have something. You just got to have something. Okay, so we had some tots is what we did.
I got mozzarella sticks.
Olivia
and
had
then
mozzarella sticks.
I made a bad decision and I ate one and then I thought I could swallow it while it was still like gooey and attached and then I choked and I had to pull it out.
But it didn't burn. It just got
No,
stuck.
it just was stuck. So like half it was in my hand and the other half was like halfway down my throat.
That's gross.
I had to,
Nasty.
I
Can we
had
come
to,
up with
I
a
had
name
to
for
say
that,
it.
like cobbler scald?
Mozzarella pull.
The,
I don't know. That's not very
Ew.
Yeah, I'm trying to think
Okay,
about
so brain freeze.
it.
Oh, yeah.
Esophageal mozzarella.
No.
Mozzarella
Brain
esophageal.
free-
Oh,
Sonic
yeah. So we're
brain
there
freeze.
getting happy hour. Well, we missed happy hour,
Hmm
but we were getting
So we had to pay full price.
we were getting. I got purple thing with nerds in it. Yeah, it's crazy. I've never heard of such madness.
So good.
But I take a big drink. I get a brain freeze. I think, what is it about a Sonic slush that is capable of creating the conditions for a brain freeze that is maybe worse than any other brain freeze? Is it the minuscule ice granules that just adhere themselves all over your body when you drink it? I don't know. But I feel like the brain freezes at Sonic are more intense than other brain freezes. I almost ran into traffic. It was so bad.
That's true.
I was panicking. This brain freeze was just like the groundswell. It was
All
like
of a sudden you were
train.
gone. I'm like, where
I
did
hid
he
behind
go?
the sign. I hid behind the sign because I didn't want you to see me. I was like Noah. I was ashamed. I needed a blanket to be thrown over me. I was so embarrassed and mortified by what I had drank and what it had done to my brain.
Oh my gosh.
And then I thought to myself, I almost need to run into traffic. This is so
Oh
bad.
my gosh.
He did say
It
that.
calmed down eventually.
It took
Not a
long
good
time.
idea for the record.
Oh yeah.
For those of you listening, thinking that might be a good idea,
No.
that's not a good idea.
No, I wasn't going to run in traffic in my life. I was just going to run in traffic to like get help. I was trying to, get
Call
assistance.
an ambulance.
I didn't know if there was a first responder anywhere nearby that could help me. And you guys are always giving me that advice that I hate so much about sticking my thumb in the roof of my mouth.
It's just you're supposed to warm it. That's where
I should have grabbed some of those tater tots that Lennox was
burnt,
eating.
and then burnt your mouth, and then it would have brought relief.
Only I could have some cobbler scald. Add that to the situation. All right. So we've talked about some things. We've gone some places. We've had a journey, and we've opened up. Livy, we are here
Just
now
a little bit.
to talk to you about what your rite of passage meant to you.
Mm-hmm.
So to start off, we did kind of let you know it was coming. It wasn't like just one thing on the calendar. We were moving towards the process of declaring you, kind of an adult, which is obviously a journey, right? So you're 17 now. You're looking back on that day. There's hindsight, perspective. What was that like for you?
Sorry, I can feel a sneeze and it's not coming, so I just need a second.
Feel a long sneeze coming?
I don't know.
I thought you were getting choked up with emotion.
Oh no, that's not it. I don't do that. That's not who I am. That's not true. That is. That is true, actually. Okay, I'm ready. For the record, I'm not getting choked up with emotion. I just have allergies.
Seasonal allergies.
Got something in my eye. No. Let's see. Well, it was a while ago. It was like what? 2019? Yes. It was right before I went into public school.
Yep, right before 8th grade.
Yes, right before 8th grade.
You're 13.
I was 13 and I was a few weeks away from turning 14. The day of, first of all, going into it, I had no clue. I knew what it was about. I knew that it was about me, the celebration of me being an adult, or a woman, I mean. As you may know from how many times my father has talked about it. But I went into it not knowing what was going to happen. You guys did a very good job at keeping that a secret from me because I had no clue. I thought it was just like a unofficial birthday party, but that's not what it was. I woke up and you were like, okay, here's a clue. And so I opened it and I had to interpret what it was. What was the first one?
It was
Breakfast.
Chick-fil-A. It was
yes.
going to Chick-fil-A.
We went to Chick-fil-A for breakfast, and which is, if you know me, that's my love. I will marry that one day.
You will marry Chick-fil-A one day.
Breakfast.
Oh,
Chick-fil-A breakfast.
breakfast at Chick-fil-A is your
Oh my
husband.
gosh,
It's
those
so
hash
good.
browns.
It's so good.
Oh, I want that.
Biscuits.
Not a big fan of their breakfast.
Really? I think you're
Just
just
gonna
saying
say it.
that for votes.
No.
Or
love
not for
their
votes.
lunch.
That's not the right thing.
They don't have
like
a
to
spicy
get
thing
reaction.
for breakfast. If they had that
Really?
spicy chicken for breakfast, I'd be all about it.
I just like those
I need a
honey.
little heat in the
Okay,
breakfast.
I need to stop thinking about this. I'm gonna be thinking about it all day. Okay. So went to Chick-fil-A for breakfast, and then we went to No. We went to Lenya's grave, and because I was unlicensed and at that point didn't have friends who could drive. I had never really been there by myself, so they let me have probably like an hour. Felt like a long time. It was nice though. Just by myself with my own self for company at Lenny's grave, and I mean, as that's always interesting. It's always very full of emotion, so it was nice to just sit there and mostly talk to myself, I guess, but in my mind I was kind of talking to her. That was a beautiful time. And then we went to Oh, and there was also a tiny little gift bag waiting for me. And then we opened it up, and there was another clue inside. And so then the day progressed from there, and I don't think my dad's told you this, but we went cliff jumping, and I totally chickened out, and I would not do
jump.
it.
You didn't jump the
No,
main cliff. You jumped the other cliff.
I jumped one that was 4 feet high.
That's not true.
Yes, it definitely is. If not, it might have been lower than that. It was more just like jumping into the water.
That cliff was high.
No.
Cliff, okay.
You did
So
the medium
we went
one.
to this lake.
You did one that was more like a boulder.
I think that I know. Because I was so ashamed, and I feel like I failed a little bit. Oh no, I'm sorry. I'm misadvertising this. I don't feel like a failure. I am a woman.
The day didn't work. She's still a child.
So warm right now.
That's funny.
So we went cliff jumping, and my dad, first of all, we had to paddle across the lake, and I was very scared that I was going to get eaten by a big fish. Didn't happen. I'm totally fine. We got to the cliff jumps, and it was so high, and I probably stood there for like 30 minutes. Dad probably did it twice in that time. He was just waiting for me, and I was like, no, I'm not doing it. So I climbed down, and then I went to a tiny little one, and I jumped off that, and I called it good. So, I mean, I kind of did it in spirit, but
No, you totally
not
did
physically.
You gave you two options. You did one of them,
It took a lot of me saying no.
but you did it.
So yes, that was me jumping into womanhood.
So everyone had a thing,
Yes,
and we talked a little
every
bit
single
about the
activity,
day
yes.
last time.
Mm-hmm.
So it all
Yes.
stuck with you, obviously.
Yes.
What
So,
was of the day the most memorable of the challenges?
Well, I think because there was one where you had me go into Safeway and buy someone groceries, and well, if you know me, that's not my strong suit. Is talking to strangers and doing things not awkwardly. And well, it was awkward. It was very, very awkward. I made it quite lovely.
Not as good as the watermelon piece.
Oh my goodness. Let's not talk about that. Well, okay, fine. I feel like we have to now.
No, we have to.
We went to a luau a very long time ago, and we went to this buffet.
I think you were 7.
I was probably 7.
Oh no.
Wait, no, I would have been like 8.
Yeah.
So this is so embarrassing. It made me cry the moment. We went to this buffet, and
Luau.
luau. It was a buffet at the luau,
Oh yeah.
and I can't even say it. There was a piece of watermelon on the ground, and
Somehow she got it stuck in her head that this man had dropped the watermelon off his plate and would be missing it. So she took it upon herself out of a misguided sense of like, this guy's going to need that watermelon piece to like chase him down and tap him on the back and be like, here's your watermelon. He was so confused because he didn't know about the watermelon, or I certainly hadn't been missing it. But he was confused and thought that you were saying you want more watermelon. And so he like tried to take you to the table, and we were watching all this play out and just so amused watching this all take place.
it was the worst. Oh, I'm so warm.
Also the best.
It's okay.
Oh, you're crafting.
So but part of the beauty though was we knew that was like a challenge for you. Like
Yeah.
talking to a
So-
stranger, you know.
Yeah, I mean, after looking back, it's amazing, and I'm glad I did it. But in the moment, it was very scary.
Mm.
Oh, you made me cry in a happy way.
It's called crafting.
Yeah, I
patent
just don't
pending.
like saying that.
But we did know, like part of it was like, because every challenge had like,
Yeah.
hey, there's other people in this world. You know, it's
Mhm.
not just about yourself. There's
Yeah.
and so you had to try and find someone who it would be a blessing to and
Just
offer to
acts
pay
of
for their
kindness.
groceries.
So, yeah, after that, as you said, you talked about this earlier, so you might know this if you already listened to the other one, but
It was cool to
I
hear it through your eyes.
paddleboarded alone up a river. It wasn't a very crazy river. It was just a tiny little calm river, but still, I was alone.
What was that like being alone? And
I liked it.
yeah.
I like
You like being
and
alone.
it was nice. And yeah.
That's one thing to think about though for parents, right? Like there has to come a point when your teenager, when your child is going to be alone, right? So it's either going to happen when they're 18 or happen when they're 20 or whatever, or you do it too young and they have all that alone time very early. So I think it's just being intentional about
Yeah.
when and how you're exposed to being alone.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
definitely true. And obviously, like before I could drive and stuff, I wasn't alone very often.
Yeah.
So it's something that I had to learn about myself, was that I liked being alone.
Mm.
And I think it's as much important for us to be able to be comfortable letting go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's part of it.
True.
Maybe the Rite of
Yeah.
Passage day was as much for us as for you, right?
think so.
Honestly, yeah.
I think so too. So I paddleboarded, and then my mom joined me, and then we paddleboarded again around Whitefish Lake, and then we ended, and I was surprised by a lot of my friends and that women that I look up to a lot were on a little boat, and then we went for a boat ride, and they all gave me different little slices of wisdom.
A piece of
So,
wisdom.
yeah, exactly. I think that was the most memorable part. Memorable part because of, just people that you love and look up to taking time to talk with you and pour into you is very meaningful. So
Mm.
I think that was my favorite part
That's
of the day.
awesome.
Yeah, wow.
That's so beautiful.
As you look back on it now with the hindsight of years, do you feel like that day represented like a leap ahead for you? Was it just like a fun thing? Like what category in your mind? And don't feel like you need to give me the answer I want. I just want to hear.
Well, I don't know. I feel like because it was an awesome day, and I feel like, but I think that I've already grown up in a place where like growing up is valued, but not like too fast. So I've grown up in a place where I understand what it means to be a woman and to live a godly life, pretty much. I've seen that in both of you guys. So it wasn't so much as like a day that I feel like marked me as being in as growing up, but it was a good day because I feel like I already had that just in living with my friends at church and from you guys. So
That's awesome.
yeah.
It's really cool.
Mm.
Is there anything that you feel comfortable sharing from any of the advice you received that day? You had lots of different people speaking into you,
Yeah.
encouraging you. Is there any maybe nugget or kernel? It's like, hey, someone said this or this that I have thought back to.
Oh my goodness. Well, there was so much, and it was kind of like overload because I couldn't tell you what everyone said. Honestly, this is so random. She didn't even say it that day, but she gave me, one of my friends, Caitlin Dietz, she gave me a little notebook, or a few different notebooks, and each one she wrote a note. And the one that stood out the most was, if he doesn't love Jesus, he ain't that cute. Obviously.
If he doesn't love Jesus, he ain't that cute.
Yes.
That's
so
amazing.
I'm
that's
preparing the tattoo artist on standby to get it on your forearm.
Okay. Well, yes. Oh, I do know what a tattoo I want. I want Lenya's name in her handwriting on my arm.
I love that.
Right below, if he don't
Somewhere.
love Jesus,
Oh,
he
yeah.
ain't that cute.
As if she's the one who said it. Well, yes. Caitlin Dietz, you said that, and I remember it a lot. Think about it.
It's profound advice.
I love that.
It
because it'll
is.
wake you up. It's like cold water splashing your face from
Yeah.
the chemical
Yeah.
high of a crush, right?
Yes. So there was that. Obviously there were so many lovely things that I was told, but that's the one that stuck with me the
I love
most.
it.
Hey, that alone is worth the price of admission, right?
Yeah.
That's huge.
It's true.
In our hearts, and you tell me how much that hit or not, was for that day not to be like you said, the one. It wasn't like all of our hopes were pinned on that day.
Yeah.
But that day represented an attempt that imperfectly we sought to move you towards ever since you were born, really. And that is that understanding and awareness. And we've used different language at different times, more rope, less rope, but the sense of you have to choose to love God or not love God. You have to choose who you're going to be. But we just never wanted there to be any doubt in your mind that the tribe of women and that your mom and dad and your family speak blessing and that you have a place within the ranks, within, the community of faith that you live in.
Yeah.
And so I think our attempt was for that day to represent 1,000 little conversations and dinners and moments and meals that moved you towards what we're declaring over you, as opposed to just feeling, circumstances, culture, world, or anything else, right?
Well, it was like when we took you out to the dinner, the restaurant that you chose, and when you were 10 years old, and we like described like your worth and brought a teacup and a mug, and I remember you telling me, or you told me, you were like, I don't really remember, but
I know the message.
I know the message, and I know that it was a special night. And I think that sometimes we as parents, it's like, you don't remember like what I taught you, that whole thing that I worked so hard for you to know. But it, like you're saying, Levi, it's like, it's the day in and day out things, but it's also creating those special moments that whether they remember them or not, like it's the vocabulary, it's the message of our home, our family, but it's just, I remember you saying that.
Do you want to speak into that, what we're saying?
I think it's true. Yeah, I mean, also, just because I don't remember it now doesn't mean I didn't remember it then and in the moments after too, because I mean, I know the promise, I know the message of like, you're worth more, and don't let people treat you like a plastic cup and just throw you away, because it's not what you're worth. You're worth being handled delicately, was what I'm sure you told me in the moment, maybe a little bit differently.
You're one of one, yeah.
Yes. You are a hand-painted glass tea cup that should be handled with care. So that, let me see, what was I? I'm rambling. I don't remember what I was going to say.
Gold.
Oh, yes. Sorry, I just remembered. Just because I don't remember exactly how it went now doesn't mean I didn't remember it then, and that it probably meant a lot to me then, because, I mean, everyone being told that they're worth everything to God and to you guys is quite lovely, and so you don't have to be sad about me not remembering it now.
No.
Yeah. Oh no.
My pastor growing up used to always say, I don't remember every meal I've ever eaten. That doesn't mean they didn't help me grow to who I've become, you know?
Yeah.
So it's like, I can't recall every sermon I've ever listened to, but it all played a role in my development.
Totally.
You know? So it's helped you get to where you are.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you
Love
for
it.
putting it nicely.
Thank you, Pastor Skip, right? Yeah.
Oh, yes. Thank you, Pastor Skip.
Why did you just get lower? You just lowered yourself
I
down.
accidentally moved my chair.
You can go back up.
that's so much work.
I mean, it's really a lever, honestly.
But then I'll have to stand up, and
You just
I feel
gotta
like
kinda-
that's just
no.
Everyone's
ruining
gonna
things if I
give you a
stand up.
moment. Is that okay? You're fine. You can go back up.
I didn't know.
Everybody watching
I'm
on
sorry,
YouTube or Access
guys.
More is getting to see a real treat here, or Spotify as well.
You're
I always
gonna be
forget we have
lifted up
video on
higher.
Spotify.
I think that looks pretty even.
I think you're the first guest in a podcast conversation ever to stand up. You just stood up.
Really?
Ooh, and you're higher than me now.
No, I feel like this is.
Are you lording it over
chairs?
her?
I don't know. Well, I've been taller than her for
No.
quite a while.
Do you remember? Yeah, it's true. Do you remember going into 8th grade? Because that was a transitional time in your life where you went from homeschool or online school rather, to public middle school. So you went from 7th grade homeschool to public 8th grade.
And it was your first year
It was
ever
your
in a
first
public
year.
school.
It was.
And this event, this Rite of Passage, happened literally, I think it was like a week before you went to school.
Oh, yeah, it was.
Do you
That's
remember
true.
that being like going into such a new territory? Like, what was that like, having that, like, being spoken over? Did that help you going into new situations?
Looking back on it, do you feel
Looking
like
back.
it played a role in all that?
Yeah. I mean, I think so. It was definitely because public school, I'm not there anymore because I left and I'm online school again now. But it's a scary place, and in a place where girls are very mean and people are tearing you down for, well, not everybody, but some people, for what you believe in and how you dress and who your friends are and your parents are or whatever. Not saying that they didn't like you guys, but sometimes they liked it a little too much and it was weird.
Oh, that's funny.
Well, not everyone, but some people did say that you're an attractive man, and that made me so uncomfortable.
Oh, wow. That's awesome. I'm glad to know there's some good people in these schools.
So,
Wait
anyways,
till they see me choking on the cobbler behind the Sonic Drive-In. They're going to really think I'm attractive.
Oh, man.
they haven't seen what I've seen.
That could be a book.
Cobbler Skulls. I haven't
Cobbler
seen
Skulls and
those.
all.
Wow.
That would be the subtitle.
Yeah.
Cobbler Skulls and the Heart of My Soul. Wait, no,
The
the ego of my soul. So going into that, sorry to come back to the main question, is that it was very nice to go into a hard place, encouraged and confident in myself. And yeah, I think that was probably the biggest thing, because not everyone gets told that they're loved and that they're that they've become a woman. There's a fuzz in the air. So yeah, I think that was probably the best part.
Yeah.
I think
That's
that's so special, because I think maybe sometimes parents will go into something like this and want to make it all just like, okay, we're going to do this activity and this thing, and we're going to help you risk this, and so that you really remember it. But what the basic, simple essence of it is that you know and are confident in the fact that you're loved by a God who designed you and created you. You're loved by your mom and dad who are in your corner championing you. You're loved by your community of women who spoke life over you. Like, that's so simple, and it's such a simple thing that you can portray and show your kid, but just the simplicity of that is so huge. And going into a new space, going into transition, going into new school or whatever, like, to have that be something that gave you confidence is so simple but so huge.
I think so too. Ditto.
How would you encourage a mom or dad, or, you know, like I said, guardian or grandparent, whatever, listening in, who you know, wants to win as a parent? What advice would you give in kind of them guiding you through the transition, not their student, rather, not just the day itself, which we've tried to say is not the only thing. It's not the be all save all, right?
Right.
Yeah.
That's like thinking like, you know, a marriage retreat is going to make up for a year of neglect in your marriage or whatever, right?
Going to the dentist once is gonna give you good teeth.
Hello.
Look at this girl up here, just coming up with the analogies. Yes. So not just covering up with, you know, a couple years of neglect with, hey, we had this big day though, and it was a quinceañera to end all quinceañeras, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
But
you're a woman now. Have fun.
But
Move
the
out.
advice of any mom or dad who just really wants to serve their child in the moving from childhood to adulthood, of making their own decisions, but do so with all of the things at their back that we've mentioned.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of a loaded question, but I'll tackle it. I'll try my best. No promises. Well, I think that if we're going in the direction of not just that single Rite of Passage day, it's just in like the everyday mundane things. Kids notice everything. The way you talk to each other, to like the way parents talk to each other, the way you talk to siblings, your friends, and like changes in your personality based on who you're talking to, in good ways and bad ways. I think just like noticing that the way you treat adulthood is like the parents' views on adulthood, and how they treat everyone is how the kid is going to do it too, one way or another. So I think just knowing that everything you do is impacting your kid. So yeah. I don't know if that's the answer that you
The little things.
were looking for.
Good,
Yeah, it's the little
Libby.
things.
It's really good.
And the big things, but also the little things, you know. I can re-answer that if you...
No, that's fantastic.
No, that's so good.
Yeah.
Because it puts an emphasis on that for parents, who you're becoming and who you are and how you live, and in the little things, and knowing that. And that's probably one of the scariest things for me as a parent. Like, our kids, you guys notice everything. You see everything, and you hear what we say, but you see how we live. And I think that that's a scary thing, but also a precious thing. And as we're, as parents, growing in who we are and in our relationship with the Lord, like, I feel like it gives hope and strength to us to know that kids see everything, kind of.
Yeah, no, it's good. I think, you know, it's been said, children hear what you say, but eventually do as you do, which is kind of what you were saying. You know, that there's a sense in which so much of the values are caught, not just taught.
Yeah.
So it's not just about what's formally codified. Hey, these are our values, but it's what's lived out in the culture of the home.
Yeah.
Whether Jesus is honored or not, whether there's repentance or not, whether there's, you know, a care and a love for, you know, the things of God or not. Like that's there. And you know, and again, it has to be your choice too. I think we've, you know, been so intentional, imperfectly, but intentional your whole life about not ever trying to make you feel like there's a pressure because your parents are Christians that you have to choose that, or that because we're pastors that somehow is like, oh, you got to behave and mind your P's and Q's because it reflects on our ministry or whatever. Like that's not a pressure on you.
Yeah.
And I don't want to speak for you, but I hope, and what I've seen is on your own, there's been your own hunger for the things of God. You've had your own personal encounter with Jesus. Your own desire to even serve in the church has come from you. I mean, like there's not a non-negotiable be in our house that we're going to church, but it's been on you. You know, that you've felt a call in a sense that God has some unique thing that he wants you to do within the church. And that's been just so fun to watch that. So how has that journey been for you? And maybe there's any kind of pinch points or principles along the way that come to mind in that, because it has been, you know, not having the bumpers up, right? The ball could have fallen into the gutter a lot of different times and ways over the years.
Yeah.
How would you want to speak into that, like at all?
Well, are you saying that you're just grateful I haven't gone off the rails?
No, I'm not saying that.
Because there's still time.
There's still time. He's threatening to go off the rails.
No, I won't do that. I don't really want that. Well, man, let's see. I'm sorry. I'm really, my brain feels like it's fried.
What's helped or served you or been a part of the process of you making your faith your own?
Yeah.
And
Oh, okay.
it's kind of what I'm trying to say.
Thank you.
I
I was
rambled on the way
confused.
there.
Well, yeah, sometimes you like say the question and then you talk about kind of the question and then you end with a question mark and I'm like, what are you saying?
Which one do I speak to? Welcome.
Fair.
That's fair. Okay, can I rephrase it? Give me a
Yes,
mulligan.
please. Thank you. Sorry. I had to say
Our
it.
desire has been to not push you into anything because of what we do or let that be somehow the weird expectation on you.
Yes.
How has it been navigating your own faith with parents that people do know or listen to teach the Bible, and you finding your own in that flow?
Okay. Thank you for asking it in a different way.
Better?
Well, yeah, just more clearly. Well, I think that since there's so many people that I know and love, not just you guys, but people in the church who aren't staff members that still serve and show up every week, I think that's a big influence in me because I see them and I see that they love Jesus and they're kind and they're hilarious and they're so fun to be around, and I know that I want to be like them. And so I'm like, well, I just have to copy everything they do, and then they're every week serving and volunteering and helping out and giving their time and their effort to Jesus and his church and also to people and to the community. And I'm like, oh, okay, I should probably do that too. And I've also seen you guys and I've been encouraged in it pretty much since I was born. So I think I've just been able to be around a lot of really cool people that love Jesus, and I've been able to see a lot of amazing things, like just God moving through a ton of people. Specifically passion, I think, is always something that like lights me on fire every time I go there, either Passion Church or Passion conferences. It's always something like, ooh, wow, God is real. You know, it's like adding fuel to that fire.
You would say to a
Beautiful.
parent, getting their child into the right environments.
Yeah,
Them
yeah,
prioritizing,
yes.
getting them around the right people and getting them into the right environments to catch those kind of things that hopefully are reinforcing what's already happening at home.
Yes, that's a much better way to put what I said.
No, but it's good
No.
seeing it through your eyes, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that's my answer to your question.
If you were talking to a parent who is just like, hey, I need encouragement in how to approach and the mindset to have in approaching my 11-year-old or 13-year-old, or maybe they feel like they've lost some miles. Maybe they were more focused at work for a season or not absent or didn't show up, didn't do daddy-daughter dates, which are hopefully all those things that can be put in place. But maybe they feel like, hey, my kid's like now 15 or 16 or even older, and I want to make up for lost time. But I feel like it's too late. How would you encourage that parent?
Well, I know that sometimes parents can come on strong after that. So they'll be like, well, I wasn't around for a few years, but now I just want to see you every time. I feel like that would be, well, if it happened to me, I would be like, oh my goodness, stop it. Because that's just coming on strong, especially because your palate isn't used to it. So I think just starting small and being like, so hey, how was your day? In a nice way, and like taking the time to listen to their answers and asking questions. And then when they're ready to move on, like just let them and then wait for your next opportunity and kind of just let it be natural and don't force anything. And then for what was the beginning, you asked for kids that are like burnt out on church?
Or maybe just the parents who feel like it's discouraged that it's not even going to work,
I think just doing things that the kid loves with them, I think, because I love reading and I know that when we just sit down and read, that's a fun time. So I think even if there's no talking, just spending time together would be a really good way to help that.
That's so fun.
That's awesome. Well, going back to what you're saying about being involved in the church, like what's so beautiful about that is as you have grown up and learned from all these amazing people who that is this Christian life, is surrounding yourself with the church and being involved in everything and letting God speak through his word together, but also through each other. But what I love is that as you have grown up in the church, you've been an example at different seasons in your life to other people, but now getting to see you grow to be part of the grove of people who are pouring into others, both young and old.
Yes, true.
It's really I'm just so full of gratitude, and I'm inspired by you, how you shine bright to the people in our church. But it's just beautiful to see, because that's what we're meant to do, and to see you walking and to see you seeing that you love the kids, and you love serving in different ways, and you love just showing up, and you love even just being at the church doing school, you just love it, and that's God's heart too, and it's so beautiful to see.
You've become an example to younger people in the same way that you've enjoyed the example of others, which is so cool, right? Someone said everyone should have a Timothy, like Paul did, that he was mentoring. Everyone should have a Barnabas, a friend that he's encouraging, right? Everyone should have an Ananias, someone who's older than them that can kind of bring them in. So it's kind of like having someone above you, someone beside you, someone beneath you that you can kind of pour into. And you've had all of those. And I think as parents, we got to have thick skin, because if we are getting our kids around the right people and fostering that, you can't force it. Like you said, you have to finesse it. But there's going to come times when your kids are going to pull away from you, and hopefully the people they gravitate to are saying the kind of same things you've said. But the thick skin part is when they kind of prefer those other people over you in season, or regurgitate back to you something you've told them a million times. But it's like, well, so-and-so said this, that's a great thing they said that, as opposed to.
I think you're just talking about what I've done in the past.
And what I've did to my parents, and it's the circle of life, really, to get Lion King on it. But I think, Livy, I couldn't end this time without just thanking you, not only for that generosity, speaking into other people, but also just who you are and who you become. I just honor you. Because you're our first child, you got all of our worst parenting mistakes. But the younger kids have a more exhausted version of us, so joke's on them too, right? But you've helped us grow so much, and watching God in you, who you've become, your sense of humor, your poise. You've always had such a poise and such a strength. Your humor, it's a real honor to be your dad, of course, but to be around you. I always want to know what you think. I always want to hear your reaction to stuff. love being around you. It's the delight of my heart to watch you become who you become. And then just to watch God just continue to turn the volume up on your life, hearing you step into a few different podcasts, not even just this one. But then also, this next year we're going to speak together at a conference in Pigeon Forge, Tennessee. And I know you've felt and sensed a stir of call of God in your life, and figuring out what that looks like will be a process, and we're here for it. But we're just so proud of you. We love you so much.
Love you too.
Yes. Amen.
Thanks for having me. This was a pleasure. It was nice.
Do you have any closing thoughts?
Oh my goodness. I have so many. Well, actually, that's not really true. I have just one.
What is it?
I don't have any.
Is it going to be a surprise to you and to us as it comes out?
I was going to say something about movement conference, but I feel like I've already done that bit, so just kidding.
How about
Come to movement conference.
Well,
you can
that's
hang out
good.
with me. I'll hang out with you.
What about something else you'd say to someone just listening to this podcast? How would you want to brighten their day or inform them or
encourage them?
Tell them about a product you love. This is kind of the stuff people come to this podcast for.
Oh my goodness, what do I like?
Or a life hack.
I don't have many of those. I mostly just live and try and not mess up with my, I don't know, cooking.
No, that's not true. You got pre-bed lie downs.
Oh no.
Or
he's exploiting me.
Systems for how to read the Bible. Anything you love? Any books you've been loving?
Wow, such a wide range.
I'm giving her a wide lane to run in.
Just finished Project Hail Mary by Andy Weir, and it was so good. And my dad read it too, and we have bonded about it a couple of times. So I think reading. Also, let's see. Yes, pre-bed lie down. It's a thing. I do it every single night. I don't know why. I just started, and I cannot stop it. It's physically impossible.
Describe the pre-bed lie down.
I'm getting there. I just am embarrassed. Every night we make our way upstairs, and while everyone else is getting ready for bed, I lay down in my bed. And I try not to fall asleep, and then for like far too long, probably 30 minutes, and then maybe a little less than that. Sometimes I read, sometimes I just lay there and look at my ceiling, and I'm like, oh, I'm just so tired. And then I finally roll out of bed, go get ready for bed, and then I go to bed, and I always get made fun of
the pre-bed
because it seems so inefficient, but it's true.
She sometimes does it in our bed, sometimes does it in her bed,
sometimes on the couch,
sometimes on the couch.
But sometimes you fall asleep.
Sometimes she falls asleep for hours.
Sometimes, okay, but even when I do it in someone else's bed, like if I do it in the couch or in your bed or on the ground sometimes.
Wherever she finds enough room for her body to be on.
Yes, I still do it on my bed afterwards.
Oh, you have multiple pre-bed lie downs.
If I don't do it,
gosh.
yes, I do. And
it's like an appetizer before the entree comes.
Yes, it is like that. It's like an hors d'oeuvre.
Oh,
okay,
yes.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, you've heard it here.
We love you, Liv.
Now
the good, the bad, the weird, from Alivia.
So much weird.
Sky, Lusko, you're fantastic. And thank you all for listening. Thanks for being on this weird, wild journey with us.
Yes.
May the Lord bless you as you bless those He's entrusted to you.
Yes.
He loves your kids more than you do. He loves you, and He's got this. So try. Hey, anything worth doing, it's worth doing badly. So badly, keep trying. Keep putting yourself out there for God to bless. Keep going for it.
Yeah.
And He's going to use your imperfect efforts because He's the God of the gaps. He'll fill your gaps in with His goodness, and your dysfunction and your brokenness just gives Him something to bless. He's never blessed a perfect family, so why would He start now? He blesses imperfect families. That's why you need His blessing.
Yeah.
So don't see the dysfunction and the pain and the trauma in your family as reasons why God can't or won't bless and use you, but in fact the reason He wants to. It's a different way of thinking about it.
It's good.
So,
amen.
All right, Lusketeers, you have yourself a great day. We will see you next week, next Wednesday, with a piping hot, fresh issue
of Oatmeal.
Of Hey, It's Luskos. Until then.
Love you.
Thank you so much for listening. Be sure to swing by levilusko.com and jennylusko.com to see what's going on in our world.
And make sure to subscribe so you don't miss a single episode. And in the meantime, we would love to connect with you on social media.
Jennie and Levi Lusko, out.